This is my first time attempting a 3-piece swim bait. I'm not gonna use any fancy machines, just some simple hand tools, and a design that only exists on paper for now. Let's see if that's enough to make something that actually works. With a fret saw, a perfect 90-degree cut is pretty much impossible, and any small error here will only get amplified later on. So I'm refining the shape with a rasp, bringing it down to the lines and trying to true up those angles as best as I can. Before anything else, I mark a center line from nose to tail. It doesn't guide everything right away, but it gives me a reference I can come back to later. Now I lay out the joint positions on the sides. This is what's going to define how the bait moves. After that, I use the center line to carry those cuts across the top and bottom, connecting everything with these V-shaped lines. Now comes one of the more delicate parts, starting the cuts for the joints. I'm doing this completely freehand, just trying to hold the angle as steady as possible. It's pretty easy to mess this up. So for now I'm not cutting all the way through. Leaving the body in one piece makes it a lot easier to keep everything aligned while shaping the lure. Next I mark out the weight positions along the underside. I'm spacing them out evenly across the body, just to keep the balance consistent from front to back. This will play a big role in how the bait sits and moves in the water, so getting the placement right is pretty important. With the weighing done, I can start shaping the swim bait. I begin by marking out the chamfer lines. This is what will turn the blocky shape into something more refined. These lines basically define the final form of the bait, so I'm trying to keep everything as even as possible. Now it's just a matter of working everything down to the lines, slowly removing material and trying to keep both sides as even as possible. Now I'm just sanding everything down, smoothing out all the hard edges, from rough cuts and sawdust to something that starts to look like a lure. Now I can come back and finish the joint cuts. Since most of the work was already done earlier, this part is pretty straightforward. It's really just about following those cuts through and keeping everything clean. Sharp edges are something I try to avoid here. They tend to be fragile, and coatings don't adhere well to them, so I round everything slightly before moving on. With the main shaping done, I can start adding some detail. I've marked out a simple gill pattern on the head, which I'm going to carve into the lure. Now it's time to make the tail. I already drew it out earlier, so I'll use that as a template. I'm gonna be cutting it out from this sheet of polycarbonate. With the tail slot in place, all the shaping work is complete. Now I can seal the wood. After the first coat of UV resin, the surface finish is rough. To fix that, I'm gonna be sanding it smooth. After sanding down the first layer, it's actually fine to paint it straight away, but I like to add another layer of resin to make sure the surface is as strong as possible. I also sanded down the second layer. This helps the paint to stick better and also lets me sand down some imperfections on the resin. Now just a couple of finishing touches before I can start painting. After adding some black on the top and brown and blue on the sides, the first layer is done. I'm gonna glue on the eyes now, because I'm gonna be applying a layer of resin before painting the scales. At this stage it's also a good idea to secure in the tail. It's nice and sunny today, so I'm gonna use the sun to cure this layer of UV clear coat. After it's cured, I can paint on some scales. And it's finally time to add the final layers of clear coat. To finish this layer I just have to connect all the 3 sections. I'm gonna super glue all of these twist wires in, and then it's time to go test out the action of this Swimbait. I also promised to show the action of a swimbait I made in one of my previous videos, so here it is.